today it's the. I'm sure I'm missing. I'm messing up the date so much, but like today is close to day 50. Should be I think 48 or so. I should stop mentioning the date because I know I'm getting it so wrong every time. Anyway, product updates. Yesterday was an interesting day. We fixed a bunch of bugs around account balances and equity discrepancy. We started working on the KYC implementation. So we went live with the KYC portal on ProprXYZ/Launchpad. I've taken this opportunity to start implementing the KYC for the main app. It's not there yet. Maybe today. I'm not exactly sure. So it was some bug fixing, mostly. I have to say, not much exciting. So I pushed a lot of the features personally, and it seems like I'm doing the whole work, but the reality is I'm doing the stuff that's fairly easy. The things that are complex, like adding the Solana market to the trading engine, like as a new market, I obviously, well, not obviously, but I just don't do it. And so the stuff you see me do, stuff that, well, you have a lot of feedback to the user really quickly, really fast. Yesterday we had an interesting event. When we launched the KYC portal, we got DDoSed. DDoS meaning someone was sending a lot of requests to the website, and it's annoying. It's annoying because, for example, I had to do the reward distribution for season 15 on 𝘂𝑥borg, and you get DDoSed, and then you're like, well, that has to be taken as priority. And then because you implement so many bot features, it's not very hard to overcome. The issue is it was like super late at night, and then for me, and then what ended up happening is because the gating features was so good, not so good, but so harsh to the person that sends the request. Our webhook system on Fido, the KYC provider, was not working, and so that broke the KYC system. And obviously that had to be fixed. And for example, this morning I had to spend like an hour going through each KYC submission to rebase everything. Just not the type of stuff you wanna necessarily do. That's not in the agenda, and that when someone asks me why we're late on some aspects, you have to take some buffer, but these are things that are just hard to, if I start taking buffer for everything, I never give you an actual estimate. So today expect some more bug fixing, and then we'll get down to some features. I expect to have the first funded account, so paid challenge, live today. And for me today, it's going to be the Launchpad QA. So the Launchpad for the seed round, that's tomorrow. I'm the one doing the work there, and I have to do the mainnet deployment for that vault, and I have to do some more testing on the QA environment. So it's going to be a long day. I have to say I'm pretty exhausted. Just haven't been. I did that stream where I was so exhausted. I was in Turkey. And I kind of feel the same where or you're not sleeping enough, and so you just don't recover, and then each day is just adding pressure. And but you have to deliver, because like in my position, there is no day where I can't just be at close to 100%, because I'm working at 𝘪𝑚, and I'm bottleneck at many things. And sometimes I have to say, it just takes a toll on you. For example, I don't want to open Slack now because I know it's just a ton of pings, and that obviously hits your 60 pings, and I don't necessarily want to. Just sometimes it's a bit overwhelming. But anyway, I chose this. So not much else on the product, basically. Product-wise, we took. I'm not sure that was mentioned yesterday, but we took it. Well, obviously that wasn't. But yesterday we've hit 200K on the challenge, which is a great milestone. I think the thing now is about growth and how do you grow this stuff beyond. Today we have 125 persons on the Telegram, and I'm not the type of person that I know the easiest way in which I can grow this stuff is sharing a lot more of my credentials, as in the stuff I've done and the leaderboard ranks and whatever, and then do some P&L sharing, but it's not really the thing that I want to portray, because trading realistically is super hard. What you see on the challenge, we have a crazy win rate. Like win rate is 92%, 93%. But realistically, before you get there as a trader, if you're watching those streams and you're watching the challenge, you have to understand the work that goes into this. It's not just positioning is one thing, but execution is the most important. So you have to. These are things like someone asked me, "Hey, why don't you do a course?" My style is not. I can't give a but. My style is just not gonna work. It's just a blend of many things. I'm sure there's a way to replicate, but I haven't put that into some words or actions. I've taken a short on BTC this morning, at 68, just about now basically, 68K on BTC. You can look at. So my rationale was I want to be. First, we've taken a long from down here, like I'm not sure where that was, 68 or something. 66 500, which we closed. We booked like a 10K win for the challenge, and we must have closed this around 68 or something. 60, yeah, that was the exact thing. Well, that was a very small long in terms of P&L. I basically booked 1%, which is nothing. I was trying to see, all right, I want to be short, like high time frame is short biased. We know the straight for moves is bad for the economy. We know that each taco has a diminished return. But we also have to be mindful that this conflict isn't going to stay for so long. And there's definitely a world where like BTC goes to like 80, 90K in the next few weeks. So you don't want to be bear holds so much, but you have to respect the trends, and the trend is down. So by default, like the positioning you have to have in mind is, okay, I want to be, if I don't know how to position, I want to be short. Now, you have to understand though and be mindful of where we're short. We're short from this mid-range, well, this is the VWAP, and we're basically short from middle of the VWAP, which isn't really, ideally you're short from here. But what I'm fine with at the moment is to take this, so the setup I'm taking mentally is so 68. I'm basically taking this setup. Very rough, like the entry and exits. I don't work like this. I don't time my invalidation with price so much. It's more positioning and there is a bit of fundamental. And for example, I would not, even if it hits my target, and then, well, on a Friday, if I'm short, I'm not going to close it. I'm going to wait for a weekend to develop and then New York Open. I mean, if you follow those streams, that makes sense to you. But it's basically a setup I'm willing to take. I think, and the reason why it's pretty odd for me to come at this, because realistically, like, I would wait for range highs to go in. But realistically, what I saw is you had this crazy move from the S&P, and you had 𝗙𝘀𝗙.live yesterday that they did a bit of volume. They did a bit of volume yesterday, if I'm not wrong. They've acquired 1K BTC. That was yesterday, right? And you had 𝗙𝘀. Before that, I think I forgot to mention, but we closed the BTC long yesterday. It's a very mid-curve take, but on the quantum news. The reason for it is, quantum's been a FUD event for a lot of time. But the issue is who published this, and that was the Google quantum team, which I think is to be taken seriously. And we also know that BTC is behind on quantum resistance, and it's a known fact. And so if the market has to price in that quantum is going to come earlier, then I think it's just additional pressure to push the price down. And the reason for going short at this specific location was, to me, we did highlight this in the previous streams, like that we expect a mean reversion on S&P. That is playing out. That was very badly drawn, but drawn like last few streams. I did post, but like all of the dealers were short gamma, which means that they have to repurchase some of the supply, and that brings a lot more reflectivity, and that's why you have those big moves. I've actually posted this before this squeeze, and my rationale is now that we've had this 2% or 3%, I'm not sure, 3% squeeze, well, mean reversion. But BTC hasn't really followed this. If you look at BTC, it's been fairly overwhelming. I mean, like if you take more so from the it's like up 2%, which isn't what you want. Like when you're up 2% plus you have STRC flows, and to me that means the probability of downside is higher. The reason for it is now that the mean reversion is playing out on the S&P, Then the real question is how likely is it to go much further up? And if BTC was like super strong over S&P, why is BTC not as strong now? If we look at ES1 over BTC, we had this this drop in relative strength, and then since the mid-March we are in a steady uptrend there. I just don't know. I'm not sure if there's any signal to take from this, but I view downside probability as being higher now. Plus the move straight visualizer. That's a cool tool, and you can still see that traffic hasn't started again, and we can argue about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, this is the only thing that matters. And the economy is still doing very bad. Like in Asia, it's doing very bad, and the only thing that's going to get it to come back again is if we reopen the Strait of Hormuz. As we said, like again, not expert, but not all oil is equal, and when you have your system functions on Middle East oil, it's not like you can buy oil from the US and then get your system working again. So you're heavily dependent on this, and to me, until the real sign is monitoring this the Strait of Hormuz, and I think even if you reopen it, you still have some risks, like that the contagion on the economy is going to spread. And so just downside is, I like the downside a lot more than the upside, and we're playing this like a range. I keep repeating myself here. And we're taking this setup, we get stopped at 60. I have to be strict there, like 69 roughly. So we're not risking so much, and then let it play out. Then I want to flip bullish again at 72. If we ever get to 72, bulls win, and at that point I would have no BTC short, and I would have a short on Tau and hype, which I would cut at a loss and then flip long again. Obviously, you would need to not just tap 72 once, but kind of confirm a new trend. And I think if you get 72, then there's a case to be made that you go to 80. My outlook for Q2 is I think we'll test both extremes in Q2. Well, sorry, actually not extremes. I think we'll test the lower part of the range, and then we'll expand towards 80. I would say in April, it's likely you take 80 and you're visiting bottom of the range. That would be my outlook. I'm pretty confident that you have a mean reversion. That's going to happen during Q2, and you want to be coming in at the extremes. I don't think I'm super confident in us breaking to the downside. obviously your invalidation has to be if you're closing, let's say on a full hour time frame at 62, there is something wrong, and you need to get the hell out. Until that happens, I want to be treating this as a range, just like I'm doing now. And I would say if you wanted me to paint like a scenario at the moment would be something like this. Then you reclaim, and then you pretty much, well, you don't go up in a straight line, but that's what I would I favor. Obviously we can have something like this, like you take out 72 and then you drop again and then you go up again. It's all about it's all like you have to adapt to those scenarios. And for example, you would take a L here, but then if we can't keep 72, then you enter a new short, and then 72 is your invalidation on the short side. That's my scenario. I wanna believe that Q2, like every bear market, you have a mean reversion. Well, we might just want to take a look. We might want to take. One can argue we've already had a mean reversion from 60 to like 20% mean reversion, but I believe we have something that's a bit more pronounced. So for example, here, wait, what the fuck? You had a 40% mean reversion in the bear market of last cycle. Funny enough, it actually looks fairly similar. You had this range. Then you broke out of this range, and then you broke out by 10%, which would coincide with a view where we hit 80, and then or like 80, 85, and then I don't think I can be bullish for the summer. Historically, we've had a bullish summer last year on the back of the DATs, but they're not coming back this summer, and summer means liquidity. And I think it depends on where we develop. If let's say in May or end of April you are 85, 80, I would definitely go short. Go short on a 1 quarter type horizon. If you look at all of the bottoms in BTC bear markets, maybe we're not in a bear market. That would be ludicrous. But bottoms take some time to form, and I think my guess is we're not too far from a structure like this. We're pretty much. I think we're pretty much in it. 50% drawdown from the highs for BTC with the ETFs is already quite a bit, and the moves up, will be a fade, I think, and you can just go short there. That's the mindset. There are some guys I follow which kind of respect, are actually saying that we can go to like 100K towards the summer, or like you can go in an uptrend this summer. My approach to trading is I have some base assumption, but like for example now it's a range, and that there is a possibility of a breakout towards the towards like April, realistically towards 80K. I already know the assets that I want to acquire to express that view. That's going to be Zcash, BTC. I think mainly those two. Zcash and BTC. I know my sort of like the setups I would take ahead of time, but you want to be very flexible. That long side in the bear market, you have to get seated properly. Let's say, I know I can target a roughly, let's say 20 to 30% move on this Zcash, maybe 50%. And I would go pretty heavy on this long, but you have to cut on acceptance below 62. And the rationale for being long in April, STRC, they did bring a lot of flows. I'm conflicted at the moment on like you have this short setup, but if things don't play out quickly, like if by end of the week we don't lose, like we're still above 68, I'll have to fold, because then we're entering into pretty close to the snapshot date of STRC, which I don't want to fight the tape so much. So anyway, I think I've shared enough for today, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow for the seed run. Actually, if you haven't done so, please do your KYC. Obviously, if you're interested. If you're not interested, please don't do your KYC. We're paying for each subscription, well, for each sign up. So please don't do it. All right, cheers, everyone.